Christine again. I am just about done with this bag. The sewing took like maybe 5 minutes for this size, pretty easy. I just thought I'd show you really quick the finishing. I had backstitched through the whole thing. You can't see this with the red thread, but if you take a look online, you'd be able to see how to do a backstitch. It's extremely easy and very easy to do on felt, and it hangs in there. I doubled the thread, as you can see, just to kind of keep some extra sewing strength in here. I don't like to have things fall apart. Kind of bugs me. So I'm just finishing a little knot in here. Since this knot is near the opening of the bag, I'm going to take a little dollop of glue once the rest of the bag is done and just reinforce that knot just a tiny bit. That way, if your kids are playing with this, again, the fall apart thing is not my favorite. But I'm not going to do it right now because I actually want to show you guys the finishing of the bag and then let you get on your way. So of course this is the with the wrong side out. If you want to keep the sewn edges on the outside, that's fine. Felt is not stretchy, so flipping this inside out, if you go too small on the bag, you can't do it. So I wanted the bag flipped so that the sewn edges are hiding inside of it. So that's what you see. You've got, I left a raw edge on here. I was going to flip this around, which you can. With the felt, I think it'll look better on the outside, as you can see. But then you also have the finished edges sticking out from the sewing itself, from the inside of the bag would be on the outside. With the felt, it's a little harder. So your easiest bet is to take your extremely sharp scissors and just do, you want to go far from the top so you don't cut the top of the bag by accident, and you don't want to cut near your stitching, but you just put little holes in here. And be careful not to slice yourself open in the process, because these are very sharp. The other thing you could do instead of cutting these holes, because as you can see, you can't really see the hole, it's probably a better idea, is to take your amount of thread that you got. I'm using a darker red just because I wanted the contrast with the strap. You want to have kind of a longer strap so your doll can carry the bag around. I need to get a bigger needle. You'll use this small needle for threading beads on, but you need one with a larger hole to be able to get this through, get the embroidery floss through the eye of it, because you're using all the embroidery floss at once. And I wasn't prepared, so let me find a big needle here. Some of these are my leather needles and extremely sharp, and I've run them through my fingers as well. But there's one, and that will go through the felt, even though it has a dull tip. It's kind of funny to think that, you know, stuff that we did as little sewing projects when we were in elementary school, in felt, that you can actually bring felt back. There are people who do real fancy doll clothes and everything else with it. Just get your end of your floss wet so it's easier to go through. Let me see, I got a big eye needle there, went through without a problem. And find your starter hole. And then, as you can see, I'm just going a little bit away, just keep going through. What you're basically doing is creating the drawstring. And with this duller needle, it can still be a challenge to get through the felt, but as you can see, it does it pretty easy here. And I'll get all the way around. I have a sharp big eye needle someplace, but right now, not really sure where. We still have some of our crafting materials all over the place. I end up having to swap out supply bags as I go to different places. So my needles end up in different bags. Okay, you can see where my seam is on the side of the bag. And you can see where I'm going through with the needle here, right next to the seam. Since this is a thick seam, I found another spot where I can go right next to it. So I'm actually coming out right on the seam. So pull that through. There's the one side of your bag. And your thread will be on the outside of that turned edge from where you had sewn inside. So what is happening here is that you're coming out on the other side of your sewing from the inside of the bag, and this actually is kind of helps with the strength of it a bit. So then you just repeat going through the other side if you can. Sometimes you hit the fibers that just don't want to cooperate. So all this is a running stitch. And for making this size drawstring, it works perfect. And you want to do a lot of these in and out because it just looks a lot nicer. Pull through, flatten it out, and I'm going to go a little bit closer to the edge here just because I want to. And fight with that one fiber that just doesn't like you. Okay. So there you go. You adjust your length of threads. These I can cut. I didn't quite know at first what I was going to do with flipping the edge over, so I didn't. So those are gone. And that, I think that's an appropriate length. So cut to the length you want. You're done with that part. And you can see where it just drawstrings really nice through. You have a little mini bag here. Now, of course, with a lot of the drawstrings, you know, you have like a bead or something to slide that kind of closes the bag for you. I'm going to see if you have a good sized bead, you want to make sure that your needle is going to go through it, especially with this size embroidery floss. So I have some beads here that's not going to work. Okay, well, plan B. Plan B is when you have the bag drawn like that, your kid can just leave it like this, which with this size the felt will pretty much stay in place. You could have them do a knot here, but if over the long run that's going to weaken your threads. But if they do just a very loose knot, that's going to be okay, because you're going to have another knot up here. This one will be your permanent knot to act as a handle for the bag. So you want that one tight. This one can be undone regularly. I don't think with the felt that you need to knot this end to keep the bag closed. I just wouldn't do it. Wouldn't tell your kids to do it, because it would be something that you'd end up replacing this thread later. You can also use ribbon for this. I just didn't have any red. So as you can see, the cards fit nicely in here. They're going to be kind of jumbled. They won't be in a neat stack, but oh well. So then, as far as your embellishment on the end, If you do have these lovely little skulls or little red sea beads, these are a size E. You can have them on the end of the bag. These skulls do have a decent hole, but I'm going to have to go with a smaller needle again. So it's going to be a challenge to thread it through. And I picked a red one. And I think I'm going to go with a yellow one. So there'll be one on one side and part of the strap and one on the other. So what you do is just take a smaller needle and thread them through the bead itself, tie a knot at the end, and then add a little glue to that knot at the end. These I'm going to have to package up just because they're going to go all over. And that's a disaster in the making. So I'll move that out of this way here. I'm going to have to bring this knot down a little bit further. I goofed. And that does happen. Because I made this short enough that I might have trouble tying this knot at the end. I suppose I can see if that'll work. The trick is finding the appropriate needle again. Some needles that you can get for beadwork are just twisted wire, and sometimes those work phenomenal for this, and I should have thought and actually dug one out of my craft supplies, but I didn't. So what you can do is maybe twist up some thin wire and then use that for a needle. I'm going to see if one of these beading needles actually works. If I can get all this thread through it. I am close, but no cigar. Let's see what one of my other options here is. I had gone down to a smaller number of threads. See if I can get them through the eye of this one. It's okay to growl at your projects. There we go. So run that through. Pull the needle off the thread. Set it aside. Grab your other two that didn't go through. This is tricky. Wet the ends again. This is if you have a needle that's too small, like I do. But I don't have anything else that will go through that bead neatly, so you do what you can. Make do with materials you got. And these needles have taken a lot of abuse sewing beads through leather and all sorts of things, so this one's bent to all get out here. If you have to have reading glasses for this, it might be a good idea. They don't help me at all. So I have to eyeball this. Oh, it's going to be a stinker. I hit it through once, now I can't do it. Make sure that that bead doesn't slip off, or you're starting this again and your frustration level will rise. Oh, come on. Get in there. It don't like me. way. Well, the trick of this is if you have too small of a needle, get these threaded on here and then run it through the bead again, and you'll be able to get all the fibers on here. And then, like I said, do the knot and then add some glue to the knot, and you'll have your bead kind of dangling there and a little bit movable. And you can do multiple beads if you want. Just make sure that you're going to be able to tie the knot. So that's for finishing the strap on the bag. And like I said, if you have other small things like these little watch parts and stuff like that, you can just kind of glue them. Only do like the corners and stuff. You can also glue on glitter if you want it, or however you want to decorate the bag. Or take embroidery thread and, you know, go from the inside of the bag and start making pictures on it. The easiest time to actually do that, though, is before you sew the sides of the bags up. You can do the embroidery and then sew the bag. So, or fabric paint, however you want to decorate it. So that's it. And my next video will be on the 100th subscriber giveaway, in which case this little tarot set's going to be one of the prizes. A person will have an option to choose what they want, unless I happen to get like 200 subscribers when I do that video. We'll see. Anyway, again, happy crafting and blessed be.